Hi and welcome back to Visit Fylde Coast. Well, what a change in the weather, what a change in the weather. It's another day, it's another drafty seafront, and believe it or not, I am actually in Blackpool. But somebody looks like they've nicked the tower, it's disappeared, look. There's the pier there, North Pier, Central Pier, sorry, wrong one. And I think the hotels are still there, but somebody's shifted the tower. Very strange. And this, when I turn around, is South Pier and the Pleasure Beach somewhere. That looks like it's disappeared as well, only looking at it. And we're going to go and we're going to take a look at the next Demolition derby in Blackpool. So as you can see at the back of me, we've got some more heavy equipment, some more heavy machinery, and it's another hotel coming down. So we're going to go and take a look. You'll love the first one. So we've arranged the second one especially for you. We've pulled it all off, especially for you. So if you are new here, make sure that you've subscribed, make sure that you've signed up for your Visit Fylde Coast email newsletter, and don't forget to tell all your friends. Let's go and have a look and see what we can see. It's very strange that, isn't it? No Blackpool Tower, doesn't it look? Doesn't it look very odd? This is St Chad's Headland. It was one of the various different ones that was added when Blackpool Council redid their sea defences, and it was completed in March 2007. But we're not here to look at the beach, we're not here to look at the view, we're here to look at St Chad's. So you can see it's just starting to come down, And it's quite an exciting story, this one. It's quite an exciting story, and I think when it's finished, this is going to be quite spectacular. It's going to be quite something, because it's coming down, as you can see, with the digger taking it to bits at the front. It's coming down, and then it's going to be a new hotel in its place. So we're going to go and take a look round. We're going to take a look at some of the interesting bits of information that we've managed to root out with our looking around, and we're going to go and see what we can see today. So this is a bit of a historic terrace, much like the Hackett's one that was demolished a fortnight ago. It's kind of the similar era. This was built in 1891, and it stands between Woodfield Road, which is that one there at the side of the Lindeen, and St Chad's Road, which is this one here with the little bicycles. We did a vlog in our early days of St Chad's Road, and it's actually got some really nice holiday accommodation down there, so have a look at that one. It's on the Places to Stay playlist. The other buildings were added in stages up to about 1912. So on this corner here we latterly had a chip shop, which I was all set for going in last year for my lunch, and then discovered it was closed. So it's also the site of Blackpool's first fixed switchback railway. You've got to be careful saying that, because it's a bit of a tongue twister. And on the 22nd of July 1887, that opened alongside St Chad's Road, and it was a 560-foot long ride. Eventually moved to the side of the Star Inn, where it was reopened in 1902, and that was another demolition. That was another demolition for another day down there at the Pleasure Beach, which then became, of course, the Big Blue Hotel. Good morning! Which became the Big Blue Hotel, just at the other side of the big one that you can see in the distance. Well, you can nearly see it for the mist. So it's a bit of an early historic spot in Blackpool's history, and this is going to be another chapter in its evolution, because of course Blackpool's motto is progress. And as I've said before, if you stand and turn in a 360-degree turn, you can see things happening all over the town. It's amazing. It's quite amazing. It's a shame it's not sunny. Everything looks better in the sunshine. So it's not the only St Chad's either on the Fylde Coast, because of course there is St Chad's Church in nearby Poulton, which was the biggest town on the Fylde coast at one point, and that church dates back to 1086, and it was one of only 3 churches in the Mountainess. That's amazing. So St Chad, while we're on the subject, I was quite curious who St Chad is, and apparently he was one of the Anglo-Saxons' most important saints. And he died on the 2nd of March 672. Goodness me. And he was the Catholic monk credited with introducing Christianity to Mercia. That's today's interesting little fact, that. Mercia, of course, was the sort of middle of England. Not quite up to the Fylde coast. We were just above it. So it's only just started. They'd started last week taking some of this front porch down. And as I arrived, they were just putting something in the skip. So as I turned round, they were picking some steels up from the floor down here, and as he picked it up, he twanged that window frame there, and I thought, oh, mind the windows. Mind the windows, Vicky. It's a bit of a tight demolition site, so I would imagine they're going to take this one slowly, given the fact that it's not been on fire and it doesn't need pulling down in 5 seconds flat like the Hacketts did. So what's happened and what's happening next? Well. On the 26th of January we did a vlog just as they'd started to clear it out and empty it. And a fence went up in January 2023, and when they were clearing it, there was everything left inside. I've been talking to the workmen one day, and they'd pulled mobility frames out, beds, you name it, they found it. They must have just walked out and literally dumped everything that they'd got. And I actually saw quite a bit of it in the skip. There was all kinds of random, disgusting things. But the building itself is owned by a Singapore-based company called the Fragrance Group, and they've owned it since 2018. So if you look at their website, it's quite an interesting little portal actually. It's well worth a look. So they also own the Lindeen, this one next door. And they own the Imperial, which is down there at North Shore, just past North Pier. And they're planning to demolish it and rebuild a new hotel. So it's going to be a new 157 bedroom hotel on five stories. So what's this one? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's just a little bit taller. So the story starts a little bit further back than that. We're going to go and take a look round the perimeter of it before it disappears from view. So you might remember in 2020 we had a bit of a thing called a pandemic, which was, horrible and hopefully never to be repeated. Not in our lifetime anyway. So it fundamentally affected all of the hotel trade, tourism providers, anybody that had got anything to do with hospitality and leisure. Because we were all stuck at home, weren't we? We were all stuck at home and we couldn't get out of the house. So despite all the furlough schemes and all the government assistance and everything, quite a few hotels really struggled and went out of business. And in February, on the 4th of February 2021, all the 80 staff of both the Lindeen and the St Chad's were given notice via Zoom, which we'd never heard of before the pandemic, that they were going to be made redundant, and that was it. Boom, boom, their jobs had gone. And the management company that ran and operated the hotel had collapsed, not literally, but it had gone into administration. So they were all out of work basically. The management company was bought out by RBH Hospitality Management, and the Lindeen opened very soon after that, but the St Chad's didn't. It remained closed. So that was kind of that for St Chad's, and it's been empty ever since. It's been vandalised, and obviously any empty building is a magnet for people breaking in and doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But it's not been vandalised to the same extent as it's not being vandalised to the same extent as Hackey's, thankfully. So it's coming down a little bit more slowly. And that brings us to today. So we've seen this before, haven't we? If it's the same one. It can't be, it's not got the contractor's name written all down the side of it. Anyway, as that chap's just said, the story goes that the Fragrance Group are going to demolish this and build a new hotel. And then when they've done that one, they're going to demolish the Lindeen and replace that one with a new hotel. Now, the local story goes that they're going to be connected with a bridge over the road between the two properties, which will be super swish if that's indeed what they're going to do. So we'll look forward to seeing that. And still on the subject of the Fragrance Group, when you go and have a nosy on their website, it's quite a sight to behold. I mean, you can see why these are all coming down, can't you? They're a ramshackle mismatch of all kinds of bits that have been tagged on at the back. They're all like this, all the old Blackpool hotels, because they're old buildings that have been modified and adapted and added to over the years, which makes them not really very user-friendly inside. So you've got all kinds of wonky split levels and little corridors and poor staircases and bad access and difficult putting lifts in and all that kind of stuff, which is where they've not decided to refurbish it, and it's all coming down. Goodness, there's a bit of a funny smell. I don't know whether it's dampen dead buildings or whether it's a bit gassy or what it is. I think it might be dampen dead buildings, to be honest. Got a little pidgey podgy up there. I bet he's thinking, oh, here we go again, another building coming down. Rather than ending up with a mishmash, pitch-potch, bodged together building, it looks to me very much like the Fragrance Group are going to build something rather super-duper swanky. So, as I was saying, if you go and have a nosy at their website, they've got quite a portfolio of property. So I think Blackpool ought to consider itself lucky that it's been chosen for a, expensive project like this. I can only imagine what they're thinking, what they're spending. So they've got hotels in Singapore and Australia. Think big swanky hotels. They also own the Imperial, as I said. They own the Crown Hotel in Harrogate, which is a beautiful stone affair. The Townhouse in Manchester. And then in Torquay, the Palace Hotel and the Corbin Head Hotel. The Park Hotel in Paignton and the Lighthouse, which is, of course, Torquay's next door neighbour. The municipal buildings in Liverpool. And the Royal Mineral Water Hotel in Bath, or Bath if you're posh. Of course I'm not, so it's Bath for me. And speaking of baths, look, I spotted here. Got to show you these. A very well ventilated public convenience. There you go, that's ideal for anybody. Ideal for anybody that needs it. So if you're looking for a loo in Blackpool, there's one here, but I wouldn't actually recommend it. I don't think there's any toilet paper. Just made me smile. Just made me smile. So I think by the time the fragrance group, I'm going to make a prediction that by the time they've finished and by the time this is redeveloped, I think this is going to be super swanky and very posh. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not I'm right. Now, does anybody remember it being called the Regency? Does anybody remember that? I presume that's what it spells. And that old road sign, I hope they're going to save that. I hope they're going to save this old name up here. It'd be a shame to lose that, wouldn't it? A little bit of Blackpool's past history. So this is going to go all wonky as I try to avoid the fence. Or maybe not. Line that up quite well, didn't I? And now that they've got the sun lounge down at the front, you can see the original bay windows of the old Victorian properties, which in the heyday must have been beautiful, you know. They must have looked really, really something. I'd love to have seen it back then. And I think, like in most places around here, the frontage that all the rubble and the diggers are parked on, they were all gardens, weren't they? I've seen photos on Facebook of beautifully manicured front gardens. And then all this time later, it all turns into a building site. I wonder what the people of the 1890s would think. I think it's brightening up a little bit as well. Although the top of the big one's just starting to come back into view. As you can just see there. But it's a fantastic spot. I mean, it's got its own practically private tram stop. It's got a beautiful headland straight across there and open access to the beach. Crossing right outside the door, and then you don't get knocked down when you're trying to get to the sands. So you can understand why they've bought it. What is it that they say? Location, location, location. You can change the property, but you can't change the location. So we will keep you posted, of course, during the removal of this building. St Chad's Terrace, 1891. Be interesting to see whether the St Chad's sign is as resistant to demolition as the Hackett's one was. And then in another few weeks it will be no longer. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. A little bit of the history of the hotel, a little bit of what's coming next. Quite a lot of Harris fencing. And don't forget, make sure that you've subscribed. Make sure that you've subscribed and sign up for your Visit Fylde Coast email newsletter. The link is underneath the video. And we will keep you posted. No doubt this will all be another cartload of things that are sorted for recycling. And we'll see you soon. Bye for now.